Hello there, welcome to my channel. In this video I'll begin to build 5 troopers from the first Gaunt's Ghost novel, First and Only, a Black Library publication from 1999. To achieve this I'll be using a box of Cadian troopers from Games Workshop, some heads and arms from Anvil Industries, and an assortment of tools. So what makes a Tanith born ghost? Well, in the opening scenes of First and Only, Dan describes the defining aesthetic characteristics of the ghosts. Quote, "The night sky was matte and dark, like the material of the fatigues they wore day after day." End quote. I always imagine the ghosts to be grey or black, and after some time in the field would become a mix of browns, greys, and greens, or whatever battlefield they're in. They would pick up some dirt. On the same page, the ubiquitous camo cloak and pale complexion are also mentioned. I'll be modelling every ghost with a cloak, and when I come to paint the skin tones, I'm going to use one tone lighter than I ordinarily would do. Now on their cloaks, in the books, there's no description of them being camouflaged in pattern. I see them more like the cloaks that were given to the Fellowship, truthfully. A kind of grey, green, brown colour which at a glance can appear to change into whatever background they happen to be in. And for those born on Tanith, the use of a helmet seems rare or non-existent. In the novels, they often have nothing on their heads, perhaps a beret or a watch cap, but more often than not will sport long or short dark hair. Each ghost has a combat knife, with a nickname of Straight Silver, and this will be modelled on every character. I have 2 spare sprues from the discontinued Cadian Hostile Environment kit. On these sprues you have small knives, small grenades, small pouches. I have some which I'm going to use to model the regiment's knives, pouches and tube charges. Since they're discontinued, however, I only have a limited number, and I recently counted how many ghosts I'm going to make, and it's somewhere in the 60s. I certainly don't have 60 of them, so at some point I'm going to have to begin to mold them myself in the same style as the ones I already have. When it comes to painting, this is for a further video, but since we're talking about what makes a Tanith-born ghost, many ghosts adorn themselves with blue cultural tattoos on every part of their body. So where I can, I will accurately represent those that are described in the novels onto the characters that I make. Another defining feature are their rifle stocks, which are made of a wood from their home planet called gnarlwood. This is obviously for those born on Tanith. However, as we move through the Ghost saga, some of these design notes will change as we meet more characters. Anvil Industry makes some fantastic products, and when I found their long hair heads, I knew that the project could work. They also have some berets and female heads, and here I also have some bald heads to represent those who have buzz cuts or have short hair. And here I start with Seglin Val, and I use the left bionic arm from the Cadian command box to model the wounds he received on Fortis Binary and his augmetic shoulder. Something to note here on the philosophy behind turning characters from a novel into a tabletop miniature. I am finding it quite hard to bring nuances and details of characters into 28mm, so I intend to pick a few defining features from said characters to model onto the miniature. In this case, Val's augmetic shoulder, or Merton Fagor's tall frame and short dark hair. Today, I'm building 5 ghosts to begin with. I'm going to build Fagor, Val, Blaine, Merrin, and Hasker. All these characters are from the first novel. Now, in the novels, the ghosts are described as being a light infantry recon element. The shoulder pads from the Cadian kits always jarred with my vision of the Tanith first, so instead, I decided to use another Anvil Industries swap in the form of their fatigue and militia arms. I think this is the best option, since I do have some Catachan arms, but They are ludicrously big for the scale. And an issue that I'm having is some characters are smaller and shorter, some characters are much bigger, more wiry, some are giants. So I figured, what do I do for those who are described as being very large, of Bragg stature or Corbex? I would use those Catachan arms, because when they stand next to the fatigue arms, the contrast is going to give that perspective of the details that I need. Though I should note that one minor fix for the arms, if you intend to use the Cadian rifle, is that you will have to remove the already modelled Cadian hands if you want to use the Anvil Industry ones. Though I should think you could probably just remove the hand from the Anvil Industry arms and stick the wrist to the Las rifle hands. It's your choice, really. Whatever you want to use to get the same look, it's not a problem. Now, sometimes I find using some tack a great way for me to model my miniatures before they see any glue. I'm able to see the poses and the scaling to make sure everything's okay before I glue these things together. So here you'll see all of the parts cleaned and ready to go. So closing statements. I'll use this time to debrief and to do some admin. In this first series, as previously stated, I'll be focusing on a number of Tanith troopers prior to the events of the third novel, Necropolis. We will build, convert, base and paint members of the Tanith first and only, while keeping as close to the official releases pertaining to the ghosts as possible. Now I will try to keep my content as spoiler free as possible, but know this may be tough as we begin discussing the topics in the comment section. On the comment section, feel free to leave a message about my content, the ghosts, or anything hobby related. I'd love to get a discussion going about this subject that I'm so passionate about. But if you do notice an inconsistency or lore related mistake, please message me or leave a comment, as I do not have a great memory and I will forget some things. And it's 15 books long, so there's a lot of detail to go through. Primarily, we will focus on the ghosts, but as they meet allies in the novels, so too will we begin to model them on the tabletop. I'm not a professional painter or modeler, more a returning hobbyist with a newly found interest in video production, wanting to create an unofficial video series. As I learn, hopefully we can all learn, and by doing so become more efficient at realizing our art. As the channel evolves, I intend to create other videos about different stories and game systems. Thank you for watching this far. If you're interested in seeing where this project goes, why not subscribe? And you'll see another video pop up in your feed soon where we use green stuff and putty to mold the ubiquitous camo cloaks and add other defining features to our 5 ghosts. Catch you later. Liam out.